Some people consider it a luxury to be able to go grocery shopping. You've probably heard of food deserts. They're typically impoverished areas where it's difficult to buy affordable or good quality fresh food. The Midwest fares well overall in terms of the number of food deserts. We're among the lowest in the nation, but in Indiana's largest city.
When we say that Indianapolis has an issue with food deserts, we mean that it is the worst in the nation. So that's pretty substantial to be able to say that when you're saying that we have not just a problem with access to food, but we are classified, we are documented as being the worst in the nation.
The qualifications for a food desert are 20 to 40% of residents must make 200% or less of the federal poverty level. In an urban area, they must have to travel a mile or more to get groceries. In a rural area, they must have to travel more than 10 miles. Sarah Whitmire explains how community members are mobilizing to make healthy food available to everyone.
A large swath of Indianapolis is dotted with food deserts. Residents who live here on the city's east side say on average they shop at grocery stores that are between 3 and 6 miles from their homes.
Obviously, when you don't have access to anything, it's frustrating. And so it adds to the day-to-day struggle that people who are living in poverty have to deal with, among many others.
Indianapolis City Council member Zach Adamson lives here on the east side. He commutes into the city for work each day and can stop at the grocery on the way home. But many of his neighbors, he says, aren't so fortunate. They don't have cars. They get where they have to go on foot, or they rely on public transportation or friends for a ride.
You can probably find bread and milk or juice, but Speedway doesn't have baby formula. Speedway doesn't really have any vegetables. What we find is that, again, when you're financially challenged, you have to try to find the largest bang for your buck, too.
Some years ago, there used to be a grocery store on this side of town, but it closed up and nothing came in to replace it.
When we're talking about trying to encourage families to move back into our city center, nobody wants to live someplace, especially if they've been living in a burb somewhere where they're 5 minutes from a grocery store or something else, and move back into the city, and that we have to deal with higher crime, more density, and more scarcity.
The Indy Food Council, which launched in January, focuses on making healthy food available to everyone. Its Healthy Food Resolution lists the impacts of Indy's high number of food deserts and calls for investing money in communities that are challenged. That could be creating a special taxing district to encourage grocery stores to move in.
Grocery stores use a lot of criteria. They have enough density of population per square mile. That is what the grocery stores are looking for. Because they are lower income, that's not as desirable. Because that one grocery store did fail, that sort of is something that's not as good.
Stone conducted a neighborhood study in the Northeast's Meadows community. Lack of healthy food has been a problem here for as many as 4 decades, Stone says. Most survey responses indicated the need for a grocery store with healthy options.
They identified certain foods like organic foods being available and higher quality meats and fruits and vegetables. So they were quite concerned about not only the affordability but the quality of the food that would be available.
And how to prepare it. Many of the survey respondents expressed an interest in cooking classes.
Making the fresh food available is usually not enough. If someone has not been exposed to that fresh food and doesn't know what to do with it, maybe they've seen green beans but they've only seen them in a can, and they're going to be like, what do I do? Is it going to be too much trouble? And just to say, nope, just trim it, stick it in some water and steam it, and there you have it, like just making it, taking away sort of the mystery of it and making sure people understand how simple and easy and how much more delicious it is.
There are ways that you can adjust the dough to make it work for your schedule.
Young leads cooking classes at the Mother Hubbard's Cupboard Food Bank in Bloomington. She works with a lot of people in poverty, teaching them how to cook from scratch with whole food ingredients. The Food Council is already in talks with agencies in Indianapolis that are similar to Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, that it could then partner with for cooking and nutrition classes.
I'm 17 and I'm taking over the cooking portion of my family because my mom's disabled, stepfather's disabled, and my stepbrother is taking on a full-time job at the nursing home, Garden Villa. My family hasn't really bought the fresh ingredients yet so far because we're on food stamps and my mom's a little set in her old ways and she does the grocery shopping. But I'm still trying to convince her that fresh food would be better.
Indy's Healthy Food Resolution aims to make fresh food more accessible through a variety of avenues. Grocery stores is one, but there's also community gardens, farmers markets, co-ops. Zach Adamson's neighborhood has raised garden beds, chickens, and a beehive. Residents also have started a co-op.
I remember all of us coming together, and many of us barely knew each other, but we all realized that without us taking this action, we were not going to have access to healthy food.
Like we said, Indy's Food Council just organized at the beginning of the year. The group is in the process holding community meetings to establish what the real food issues are, and then the council will establish its goals.